This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Canada's new government will temporarily suspend the federal fuel excise tax from next Monday until Labor Day.
If your fuel bill has been burning a hole in your wallet, you are about to get some relief at the pumps. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Brittany is off tonight. Canadians are about to get a break at the pump. Prime Minister Mark Carney announcing he is temporarily suspending the federal excise tax on gas and diesel. While some drivers in Winnipeg are welcoming the break, others say the money it will cost the feds could be better spent elsewhere. The CBC's Santiago Arias Orozco brings us local reaction.
A recent bump in gas prices means Kishan Sumal is earning less with every paycheck. He can park his vehicle because his job is driving.
We have to fill the fuel. It's essential for us.
But starting on Monday, drivers across Canada will get a break at the pump. Prime Minister Mark Carney is putting the fuel excise tax on pause until Labor Day. That means a drop of 10 cents a litre on gas. Joey Fa, another rideshare driver, is welcoming the price drop.
With gas prices going up, I'm not making as much profit as I used to. So I feel like it's going to be a big benefit for all of us drivers in general, and especially Uber drivers.
But other drivers like Christian Okemau say the reduction is not enough, especially if it's only going for a few months.
Still a little too pricey. So I would love to see it go down like at least 40 cents or something. That would be very helpful.
The tax holiday also comes with a 4-cent a litre drop on diesel and aviation fuel. The cuts are expected to cost the government about $2.4 billion. Driver John Finch says taking these funds away is not going to be useful in the long run.
And it robs the federal government of much needed revenue when we actually do need it. There's better ways to spend money in Canada. I hope that the province doesn't follow suit.
Manitoba government says it's still deciding on a possible cut to the provincial gas tax. Santiago Arias Orozco, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A 4-year-old boy is recovering after being rescued after falling into a fast-running creek. RCMP say it happened near the child's home southeast of Winkler yesterday. Officers say the boy and his older brother were playing when the younger boy wandered onto some ice near the creek. The ice broke, sending the boy into the water. By the time the mother got to the creek, the little boy had been pulled by the current down the creek and through a culvert. The mother jumped in even though she didn't know how to swim. With the help of a neighbor, she pulled the boy to the bank and started performing CPR. The boy is now in stable condition in hospital. RCMP remind all Manitobans to stay away from the edges of streams, rivers, ponds, and lakes at this time of year. The City of Winnipeg says it is stepping up enforcement of its encampment rules. It comes as the city says activity begins to pick up heading into the spring. The CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
I'm standing here in Stephen Juba Park along Waterfront Drive, one of the areas explicitly declared off limits to encampments under the city's enforcement rules. It's also a place where the city says camps have started to reappear and where outreach workers and bylaw officers are expected to ramp up visits heading into the summer. City officials say since the policy took effect last November, crews have taken action on 20 encampment sites, meaning teams attended, posted notices, and people moved out before cleanup. In total, 58 sites have been cleaned up, including those already abandoned. The number of site visits have increased significantly. At City Hall today, Community Development Manager Chris Bren said that since March, bylaw officers visited sites 91 times, nearly equal to the number of visits between November and March.
As we move into the spring and summer, we are increasing the number of visits that those officers complete.
Community Services Committee Chair Vivian Santos says she's glad to hear officers are heading out to sites more often with the warmer seasons approaching.
It's winter time, we've seen people go into shelters. And so it looks great on paper, it looks good now, but that true litmus test will be this spring and summertime.
Santos says she was surprised by new numbers from End Homelessness Winnipeg released on Monday, showing more than 8,000 people experienced homelessness in the city as of March 31st, significantly higher than previous estimates. The The city declined to comment directly on those numbers, saying in a statement it's reviewing them to better understand the change. A report next month is expected to break down the costs of the city's enforcement efforts, which will help councillors decide if more resources are needed. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Almost a year after a wildfire burned about half of the Mantario Trail, the province says it is not sure when or even if it will reopen this year. Manitoba Parks says sections of the popular distance hiking trail are still unsafe. It doesn't plan to start removing dead trees and replacing signs along the trail until this summer. The 63-kilometer trail is the most popular distance hiking route in Manitoba. It has been closed since May of 2025. Some people in a rural community in Westman are opting to pay out of pocket for healthcare services. Their local nurse practitioner has opened an independent clinic, but they can't bill the Manitoba government for her services. And as the CBC's Michelle McDougall shows us, that is something some nurse practitioners want to change.
I'll hold your arm for you.
Nurse practitioner Michelle Wheel sees her first patient of the day in the rural municipality of Oakview.
We will discuss after.
Wheel was a frontline healthcare worker in the Prairie Mountain Health Region for 15 years, the last 6 as a nurse practitioner. 6 months ago, she decided to go out on her own in Rapid City, where she grew up.
If I could open a clinic in a community, that would be fantastic. And then this need for primary care in this area just was a no-brainer.
Wheel says she was excited when she learned Ottawa issued an April 1st deadline to provinces to ensure primary care services from nurse practitioners were publicly funded. But so far that hasn't happened in Manitoba. So Wheel charges her patients $60 for an appointment.
Every single day I have people emailing or calling and saying they can't get a provider. Would I take them on, knowing I have to charge them?
Wheel has more than 100 patients. Rapid City's Ian Christie is one of them and says he's willing to pay for quality care he won't get in Brandon.
For us that don't have family doctors, which is getting to be more and more as we struggle to find doctors to work rural Manitoba, people like Michelle, they're worth their weight in gold.
The Manitoba government fully compensates nurse practitioners who work in the public health system, but the Nurse Practitioner Association of Manitoba says there needs to be a funding model that pays NPs who want to go where the patients are.
They see what the need is, they see the gaps, and I think that's important, is that nurse practitioners have the finger on the pulse and they know what their communities need. And they've seen those gaps, so they want to provide a care.
Manitoba's health minister says the province is looking for ways to better use NPs in the healthcare system.
We want to make sure that they can not only practice to their full scope, but of course we want to expand that scope because we know it means that it expands the healthcare opportunities for Manitobans to access.
It's not known how many Manitoba nurse practitioners like Wheel have started their own practice, but the Provincial Association says it intends to gather that data. Michelle McDougall, CBC News, Rapid City.
Winnipeg is experiencing minor flood conditions for the first time in 3 years. Ice jams on the Red River in the city drove water levels up Monday evening. The Red is now above the threshold of what is considered to be a minor flood and is expected to rise another 2 feet. The city says it has already closed some drainage gates and installed some pumps in anticipation of a crest expected later this month. The province plans to operate the Red River floodway as soon as this weekend in order to protect properties in Winnipeg. That leads us to first check on our weather forecast. Certainly some nice temperatures today, warmer than it was yesterday across southern Manitoba, and we're looking at things heating up even more as we get through the next 24 hours. Let's get a first check on our forecast now with meteorologist Colette Kennedy.
Thanks, Riley. Well, okay, one way to look at it today, roughly twice as warm as yesterday in terms of our daytime highs. Tomorrow, let's do more than that. Let's more than double it. That's what we're looking at with the milder air coming our way. There is some active weather to the east of us, and there's some to the west, which is going to become interesting as we move towards Thursday. But if we just look at what's happening for tonight, mostly clear skies, 2 degrees for us for an overnight low. So through the mid part of the overnight, yes, getting close to freezing, but those southerly winds begin to kick up, get a little bit gustier through the day tomorrow. We start off with mostly sunny skies. 4 degrees early in the day. There'll be the slimmest chance of an isolated shower, almost like a sun shower possibility in there. Primarily, we'll just get some increasing cloudiness as we move into the afternoon. And how about a very lovely high of 19 degrees. Now, there is some active weather, as I say, coming after that. I'll have more details on that coming up.
As always, the trade-off. Thank you, Colette. Still ahead, speaking out, the former head of Manitoba's teacher misconduct investigation says the Premier's insistence she was fired for working in Florida is false. More on what Bobby Taillefer has to say about her working arrangement with the province and her exit. That and more coming up right after the break. We're learning more about the sudden departure of Manitoba's former Commissioner of Teacher Misconduct, Bobby Taillefer. The Education Minister had said Taillefer resigned after it became known she was working from Florida, while the Premier said she was fired. The CBC's Ian Fraze joins us from the newsroom with more on this story now. So Ian, we heard from the Premier on this last week. Now we're hearing from the ex-commissioner. What is she saying?
Bobby Taillefer says the Premier's comments last week that she was fired are blatantly false. And she says the province knew long ago she was spending part of her time working in Florida, and the province had no problems with it. Taillefer broke her silence Tuesday in a statement. She says she voluntarily stepped aside after media started asking questions. She figured doing the job in the States would cause some problems for the government. Also Tuesday, Education Minister Tracy Smith said having an appointee working outside Manitoba isn't a good look.
I think Manitobans understand that resign, terminate, fire, call it what you will. There was a concern. We've addressed that concern and we're moving forward.
Despite this talk of parting ways, Taillefer is still working for the province. She signed a contract to help the province with the transition to the new commissioner over the next few months. The province has started looking for that replacement.
Ian, on a different story, temporary foreign workers trying to stay in Manitoba were protesting on the legislature steps. What's their situation?
They're looking for fairness, Riley. You may recall in 2023, Ottawa stopped extending postgraduate work permits. Manitoba was opposed to that, and the province was able to convince the feds to extend those permits, except for this year, where Ottawa is saying no. Around 150 people protesting outside the legislature today. They want the feds and the province to extend these work permits so they can stay in Manitoba. Sakvir Singh is a truck driver whose permit is expiring.
To stay here legally, so we are requesting the Manitoba government here to give us a fairness about extension policy. We also did the same thing. We are doing the same efforts and requesting the same thing.
Manitoba's Immigration Minister Malaya Marcelino was in Ottawa during this protest. Her spokesperson says she was lobbying to keep immigrant workers in the province. Riley.
Thank you, Ian. The CBC's Ian Fraze in our newsroom tonight. A Saskatoon teen who has juvenile Parkinson's has received life-changing out-of-province brain surgery. And as the CBC's Bonnie Allen reports, it has helped him regain his ability to walk and talk.
17-year-old Joey Shake is back on his feet doing what he loves. It's quite a transformation from just last year when he spent most of his time in a wheelchair and could barely speak.
I feel like 10 times better.
We first started to notice that there was something wrong with Joey when he was 5 years old.
Joey's mom says in kindergarten he kept falling down and stopped writing his name. At the age of 8, he was diagnosed with a rare form of juvenile Parkinson's. Eventually, medication wasn't enough to stop the disease's progression. So in October, they flew to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto for a 14-hour procedure called deep brain stimulation surgery.
And deep brain stimulation is a type of a pacemaker to the brain. And by delivering tiny amount of electricity, you can improve the motor function of an individual.
There are only a handful of pediatric surgeries of this kind performed each month in Canada.
I do think that there's a lot of children across Canada that might benefit from it and not getting it. Again, because there's not enough expertise in this field and a lot of families are challenged by traveling.
Joey spent a month in Toronto, and while the surgery was covered, the travel and other expenses were not. As a single mother, Julie Johnson works several jobs to pay for out-of-province care. All worth it, she says.
They had him running down the hallways, and I've never seen Joey run like that, right? Like since he was like 5 years old. And for Joey, it was incredible.
Now he's playing on a basketball team, writing, and talking.
My best friend said he can actually have a full-on conversation with me.
It's hard as a parent to watch your kids struggling, to losing friendships, but he's really starting to see a future.
He doesn't take that future for granted, or his mother's sacrifices.
You're the best, and I'm happy you're my mom.
Bonnie Allen, CBC News.
A permanent Treaty 1 land acknowledgement is now displayed at Winnipeg's airport. You'll see it hanging at the arrivals area near the hug rug. It is part of a partnership between Treaty 1 nations and the Winnipeg Airports Authority. It welcomes people in Anishinaabe, English, and French. Time for a full check on our Manitoba weather forecast now. Colette Kennedy is back, teasing some warm temperatures, but we also have snowfall warnings, Colette, in place for the Pas, Flin Flon, and Island Lake because of some active weather that's moving in.
Thanks, Riley. Yeah, I think everyone, what you have on your mind is, what am I going to do with tomorrow? How am I going to get some time outside and enjoy the conditions? Because we have some lovely weather coming into at least portions of the province, not everywhere. And we are taking temperatures from this afternoon, and hey, let's add another, in most cases, 10 to even 12 degrees, at least for the southern tier, in terms of what we'll have for our daytime highs for tomorrow. Now, active weather, we're really not looking at it until you get north of the Inner Lakes region, and then we do have some activity that's going to be moving in, and some mix in there, but also looking at snowfall. Otherwise, there are thunderstorms east of us in northwestern Ontario. There is this next system that's going to be coming in. We won't really deal with it through the Red River Valley into tomorrow. By tomorrow night and into Thursday, different story, freezing rain risk, and so that will be completely different conditions that we'll have going. Now, here's that system coming through. Yes, it is generally Grand Rapids and northward, but maybe 10 to up to 20 centimeters of snow for Norway House, towards Thompson, over towards God's Lake, that potential in there. Here, we're getting past Wednesday into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. You can see around Brandon, Melita, we're getting areas of mixing or freezing rain, and that's going to continue on Thursday morning eastward. So yes, into Winnipeg, a risk of freezing rain. We'll probably see that breaking up midday, and then coming back as those temperatures get back towards the freezing mark, a mix or some freezing rain or ice pellets coming back late in the day on Thursday. So watch what your travel plans are coming up as we get closer to that. As for tomorrow, helping to push the temperatures up, how about some southerly winds, and those at times may be gusting 40, even 50 kilometers per hour. So we have that to think about. Also with that warm up for the Inner Lakes region with some of the flooding risks there, watch out because of the enhanced snow melt with these kinds of temperatures tomorrow. 4 degrees, 8 a.m., 11 degrees by the time we get to noon, and 19 tomorrow afternoon. And yes, there'll be some increasing cloudiness in there and just the slightest chance for an isolated kind of sun shower possibility. After that, though, look at those temperatures cooling down on us, and this is where we get into trouble when we get below freezing or just above with the freezing rain risk. Some lighter snow showers into Friday, but take heart, by the end of the weekend, those temperatures should start to come up for us once again.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Well, how about this lovely shot of the sunset over the city of Winnipeg as we head to break, this being captured last night, along with some clouds in there as well. We are back with more right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Liberal government has made history, becoming the first minority government to become a majority between general elections. It comes after last night's by-election sweep, winning 2 races in Toronto and another in Quebec. But critics are slamming the political maneuvering that got them there. Ashley Burke has the details from Ottawa.
The Prime Minister taking a victory lap after winning in overtime. Carney with Finland's president after scoring a majority government almost a year after the general election. Last night, Canadians elected 3 Liberal MPs, 2 from ridings in Toronto.
Tonight, we celebrate a new beginning.
Another celebrating a victory in a tight Quebec race in Terrebonne. These by-elections combine with 5 MPs who joined the Liberals from opposition parties, how Carney transformed a minority into a majority.
Voters place their trust in Canada's new government's plan.
Carney kicking off this new era with a temporary tax cut into Labor Day, a 10 cents per litre discount on gas, and 4 cents on diesel fuel.
Because of the war with Iran, fuel prices have increased sharply around the world, including right here in Canada. So we're taking more action to help.
It's one item on some Canadians' wish lists.
Well, I think the most pressing issue right now is perhaps lowering the gas taxes to help. I mean, everybody feels that.
I want to see, a better housing market. I want to see, grocery prices going down.
I would like to see a little bit more, I think, aggressiveness or towards what Trump is doing right now.
Carney says the first thing he's doing is addressing the cost of living while building up the economy. A majority means he can pass legislation faster and change how committees run.
Showboating. We're going to have less of that. We're going to have more substance.
The Conservatives say this majority means Carney can't keep accusing them of obstruction.
Absolute power comes with absolute responsibility. They will actually have to get things done. They will have to do so without blaming others.
The Prime Minister shut down speculation he could still call an election or shuffle his cabinet. Instead, Mark Carney said that his government is focused on releasing its next steps in the spring economic statement on April 28th. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Overseas tonight, Israel and Lebanon are holding direct talks aimed at stopping the fighting between Israeli forces and Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. The fighting began during the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran, and the fragile ceasefire may not hold if these hostilities don't come to an end. Chris Brown has more from Lebanon's capital.
In Washington, Israel and Lebanon may be talking peace, but in Beirut, they're still digging for the dead as the war between Israel and Hezbollah rages.
Israel make a fire on this building.
An Israeli rocket hit right next to Ahmed Zanedin's store and his apartment across the street.
I have a son, 2 years old. When he hear a small voice or anything, he put his hand on her ears. Very scared.
Health authorities here say Israel's massive attack that lasted just 10 minutes killed more than 350 people. And Lebanon continues to reel in the aftermath.
Inshallah. Sabah Al-Kurdi was among the more than 1,000 injured. Her legs were shredded by fragments from an Israeli missile. So as not to re-traumatize her, we agreed not to show her face. The shockwave hit me in a way I know I will never fully overcome, she said.
It is somehow depressive, devastating. We're drained.
Hezbollah invited the media to see a site where it says Israeli missiles killed innocent people, including 19-year-old student Abbas Khaireddin. His father, Mohammed, told us the teen had no weapons, nothing, and Israel never provides any evidence for their crimes. Israel says the attacks were directed at Hezbollah headquarters and infrastructure. I asked prominent Hezbollah politician Hussein al-Hajj Hassan what peace with Israel looks like to him. La dignité est une qualité humaine. He said dignity and pride cannot discriminate, implying Lebanese people are being robbed of both. There was no time for a follow-up, though, because of a sound every Lebanese knows by heart. The high-pitched whine of an Israeli drone flying overhead. It quickly broke up the gathering. Chris Brown, CBC News, Beirut.
U.S. President Donald Trump says a second round of talks to end the wider war with Iran could happen within the next 2 days in Pakistan. American warships are now patrolling the waters off the Iranian coast south of the Strait of Hormuz. It is the first full day of the U.S. blockade of ships entering and exiting Iranian ports. U.S. Central Command has said that so far no ships have made it past the U.S. blockade, and 6 merchant vessels have complied with orders to turn around. Back in this country, if you're feeling the pinch of high food prices, you will want to watch this. A CBC News cross-country investigation has uncovered 2 major grocers overcharging customers for meat, often by including the weight of the packaging in the price. Now, this story might sound familiar because it is. CBC News called grocers out on this very issue a year ago. Sophia Harris reports.
Karen Weber has a beef. Last year, she bought 4 beef briskets at her local Loblaw-owned superstore in the Halifax area. Turns out they were all underweight. She says a store manager promised to fix the problem. But this year, she bought 4 more briskets, and they too were underweight.
I would have to say I was pissed. Every single package was off. Every single package.
Total calculated overcharge for this year's purchase? $2.58.
Food prices have gone astronomically high for people. They can't be making extra money off of packaging. Weighing the meats.
1 year ago, CBC uncovered several Loblaw and Sobeys-owned stores selling misweighed meat, which appeared to have been weighed and priced with the packaging, a federal violation. Grocery giant Sobeys and Loblaw said they took steps to tackle the problem.
Let's try one of these.
But 1 year later, CBC uncovered more misweighed meat, like the beef briskets at some Loblaw-owned superstores in the Halifax area. At Sobeys-affiliated stores, CBC found underweight poultry at 2 Safeways and a Thrifty Foods in North Vancouver, plus underweight organic chicken at 2 Farm Boys in the Toronto region. Calculated overcharges range between 2 and 17%.
Obviously, these retail stores are not to be trusted, that the weight on the package is accurate. It's costing the Canadian public millions of dollars each year.
That is 412 grams. This former inspector with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency says the food regulator needs to step up inspections.
They need to be out protecting the consumer from food fraud.
The CFIA says it's committed to protecting Canadians and that it stepped up meat weight inspections following CBC's investigation last year. Loblaw and Sobeys declined on-camera interviews, but in an email, Loblaw apologized for the misweighed beef briskets and said that it has reviewed protocols with staff. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, you can watch the full story from Sophia Harris, Where's the Beef?, tonight at 10 p.m. on the National or anytime on YouTube, as well as the CBC News app. A grim anniversary is being marked in British Columbia. It has been 10 years since the province declared its toxic drug epidemic a public health emergency. The designation triggered a series of measures meant to save lives. But as Yasmin Onea reports, the number of people dying in BC from drugs like fentanyl remains tragically high.
This was one of the last pictures that I took of Liam. And
Mother's Day 2022 was the last time Janet Milbrat saw her son Liam.
And we had a hug, and I said, you know, love you, be good. He goes, love you too, Ma.
The 26-year-old was found dead, alone in his apartment just days later after an overdose.
He wanted help. I think he would have eventually sought it out. He didn't get a chance.
Liam is one of more than 18,000 British Columbians killed by toxic drugs since 2016, when the province declared a public health emergency.
I would say there have been some successes.
BC's health minister says the province has tried many things over the decade to save lives, including expanding addiction treatment services and providing uncontaminated drugs to some users. She says some initiatives like opening up more detox beds were more effective than others.
And it's important for all of us to learn and to try new tools, to listen to the experts and take their advice and recommendations, but make public policy decisions too in the context of the society that we're living in.
The government walked back some initiatives as a result of public pushback and safety concerns. For example, it did not extend the decriminalization pilot project, which made it legal for adults to carry small amounts of hard drugs. It also tightened the rules for its safer supply program.
It is very frustrating. It's also, I think,
some drug policy experts worry the province is leaning more on public opinion than on science to inform policy.
Public disorder was there before decriminalization, it was there during decriminalization, and it is there now after decriminalization. So I fundamentally reject the claims that decriminalization failed.
10 years on, BC's health minister says she doesn't know when the public health emergency might end. More people have access to treatment than ever before, with the government expanding services province-wide in recent years. Deaths are slightly down, but still, on average, 5 people die of overdoses every day in BC. Yasmin Ranea, CBC News, Vancouver.
Coming up, we will bring you more on the majority government that has been secured by Prime Minister Mark Carney and the federal Liberals. We speak to 2 former Manitoba MPs about last night's by-election wins and recent floor crossings. Stay with us. Members of Ottawa's Jewish community gathered at the National Holocaust Monument today to mark Holocaust Remembrance Day. They were there alongside government officials, politicians, and other faith leaders to mark Yom HaShoah, also known as Holocaust Remembrance Day.
And today in Canada, a country built on values of dignity and freedom and responsibility, that message could not be more urgent. Because remembrance is not just about looking back. It's about deciding who we will be moving forward. Will we stand by or will we stand up? Will we remain silent or will we find the courage to say, not here, not now, not ever?
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Time for another check on our full Manitoba weather forecast with meteorologist Colette Kennedy. And Colette, I know we're talking snow in some parts of the province, but I'm one of those people who might pull out the shorts for one day.
Thanks, Riley. Yeah, we have a wonderful warm-up coming, not for the whole province, but much of the province as we move through the day on Wednesday. It's kind of short-lived, so it means, yeah, you got to make the most of it and enjoy it while you can. So there's some of that warmth you can see making its way up towards about Grand Rapids, and then that's where we get into the system that'll be bringing snow, where we'll have the cooler temperatures. But as we push past Wednesday towards Thursday, cool air sinks back in again. Yeah, it's still there on Friday, not much of a change to the color contours you're noticing here on Saturday as well. When does it change and start to warm back up again? Maybe not to the high teens, but warming up as we head towards the second half of the weekend, then into Sunday. Jet stream giving us a bit of a split here. It's really enhancing some of the active weather and the repeats of thunderstorm activity and some flooding risks further east of us over towards Ontario. We'll also, with the warm temperatures tomorrow, be looking at some localized flooding with some of the snowpack that's going to be melting as that becomes a little more rapid with such mild temperatures. But otherwise, tonight we don't have active weather south. All that active weather is going to be central and north. And with it, a little bit of mixing in here, but a large area that's going to be dealing with snowfall. And with that snowfall moving through, we're talking about some of those amounts being a bit enhanced. I'll show you in a moment. I do want to point out, though, Wednesday night into Thursday morning and then Thursday evening through the southern tier, that risk of freezing rain. So Thursday, tricky on the roads. This is through tomorrow, 9 p.m. We're looking at maybe around 15 centimeters, but then that goes up closer towards 20 as we put in any little bit of additional snow shower activity into Thursday. So Norway House, Thompson, God's Lake, be aware of that. And just looking at how that precipitation is going to be moving in, and you can check out your temperature profiles in there too. So a little further north to Dooley Lake, hey, you'll be into clear conditions on the other side of that system. A cooler start tomorrow further south, dry, an isolated sprinkle possible, and by afternoon there are those high teens pushing in, so things are going to be looking very good, and they look very good for Ruby, who was sent in by Kathleen. Ruby loves to be outdoors and walks and loves snow and all kinds of weather, but also, look at that face. That sweetheart also enjoys snuggling on the couch, as you can tell there. Checking out your dog walking forecast for tomorrow. Do you see any problems in here? Wind's a little breezy from the south. Riley, looks good to me.
But I would worry about the dirty paws. Thanks, Colette. Well, as we showed you earlier, Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberals secured a majority government with wins in all three by-elections last night. With the 5 recent floor crossings, the Liberals are now up to 174 seats in the House of Commons. Former Liberal MP Dan Vandel and former Progressive Conservative MP Dorothy Dobby shared their thoughts on the wins and the majority on Information Radio this morning.
The dynamics within that caucus must be quite interesting. Probably right now everybody's sort of waiting and seeing and trying to find out where the chips will fall. Previously, when it was a minority, there wasn't that, people were focused on other things. Now there's going to have to be a focus on accountability by the government. Less accountability because they don't get held up in committee and things like that. But within the caucus itself, there's going to be some rivalries. There's going to be some dissension, especially if some of the newcomers are shown favors. And that's happened before. In the previous government, one of the former Liberals told me that when Christopher Freely came in, They sent her right to the top, and everybody was very, very upset and resented that a lot. So I think that Mr. Carney is going to have to be careful about how he hands out these preferments, because he can't afford to have any kind of disagreement within his caucus. He's got a very tight majority.
And what about for your party in general, the Conservatives? What do you think this says going forward? It was so on top of these floor crossings, there was a sweep yesterday, which we expected, of course, more or less. What do you think it says about Pierre Poilievre's leadership going forward now?
Nothing really. I think it's really interesting. I've never seen an opposition party get as much attention from the media as we have through Pierre Poilievre. It's kind of flattering in a way. He's out there doing his job. I spoke to him the other day, and I said, I'm thinking of you. He said, I'm off to BC. I'm great. You know, I mean, he's a big boy. He's been at it a long time. He understands how these things work. And it's our job now to hold the government to account until it's time for them to depart.
So there is a report in the Globe and Mail that says sources have told them as many as 8 opposition MPs, Conservative and NDP, are being courted to also potentially cross. How much stake do you put in that report?
You know, I'm sure they are trying. And I don't think it's, I mean, a lot of people would probably agree that it's not, not really kosher to do that kind of thing. But I'm sure that the Liberals are looking for a stronger majority because they are, somebody gets sick, somebody can't show up, all sorts of things can happen. Somebody could cross the floor. Some of the members of the Liberal Party want to actually, leave and go and do something else. So that's a tight majority. It's very fragile.
A majority of 2 or 3 is not a huge majority. I think what's really the glue that keeps everything together is the popularity of Mark Carney. Right now, it's quite incredible. The other big story last night was that the Conservatives really did badly in all 3 elections. If you combine the total vote count of all 3 elections, roughly 10,000 people voted for the Conservative Party in all 3 ridings. If you couple that with the fact that 15, 16 months ago, Poilievre had a 20-point plus lead and the party had a 20-point plus lead, they not only blew that to what is now a majority government, but Pierre Poilievre lost his own seat in government. And that's really striking to me as an MP and a city councillor who's been elected 7 times. It's the people who know you the best, the closest, are your own constituents. And then when they say, we don't want you anymore, that has all kinds of red flags associated to it. Now that the Liberals have a majority government, we're solid for another 3 years. And there's a lot of MPs there that have been there for 10 years. People like Michel Rempel, people like James Bazan, and there's dozens and dozens of others that have been there for 10 years. So I think the party has some reckoning to do, and I wouldn't be surprised if the knives come out.
I'm guessing you're going to want to respond to that there, Dorothy.
Well, I'm kind of laughing about the whole thing with regard to the... I always laugh at you, Dan. With regard to what happened in the Ottawa riding that Mr. Poilievre was where he lost his election. I talked to Bill Blair's wife a couple of months before the election. She said he's the most popular guy in the whole riding, and when he shows up anywhere, there are lineups to say hi and get his autograph. But the riding boundaries changed. It made a significant difference to what happened to him there. And there was this huge wave of excitement about Mr. Carney, lots of fear about what would happen with Mr. Trump. So there were a lot of mitigating circumstances. I don't hold that against him. It can happen to anybody, and there was a lot of focus on getting rid of him by the Liberals. This is the part that's so fascinating to me. Why are the folks on the other side of the aisle so interested in Mr. Poilievre? They focus on him interminably.
Because he blew a 20-point lead.
I've never seen an opposition leader get so much attention. And as I said, it can be a little bit gratifying.
Part of it is that there's 2 things the Conservatives need to do. They need to regain support to get the votes enough to form government in 2029. But they also need to hold the government accountable. So what do you want to see from
I like what Pierre is doing right now. He's being very reasonable. His tone is very reasonable. And, here's the thing. When you lose an election, when you've actually had some really big opposition like that, it makes you reflect. And if you're man enough to reflect and say, I'm not doing things right, what am I doing wrong? And in fact, he asked that question. Then you say, you got a guy you really want to have as leader who can re-examine himself and say, I should probably just adjust my approach a little bit because it's not working. I admire that. And he's done that. And I think he should carry on with the course he's on right now.
And then you mentioned Conservative Selkirk Interlake MP James Bazan earlier, and he's has a critique of last night's results in this new majority government. He says Carney's majority was built on the floor crossers, not the democratic will of Canadians. What do you make of that critique?
I think floor crossing is as old as Confederation itself. It's been happening for generations, and it's one of the freedoms that MPs have when they get elected. They run with a party under a certain platform, and if the party moves away from that platform, if they become if they move away from the platform, the individual MP has the opportunity, he has the freedom, or she has the opportunity or the freedom to change parties. They have to deal with their constituents at the next election, and that's the way it's always been since Confederation, and that's the way it should be.
Still ahead, being chased by a robot is no longer just a thing of the movies. We'll explain that coming up. Well, despite this morning's snow, there will be no spring whiteout, at least of the hockey variety, for Winnipeg. I can't make any guarantees on the weather. The Winnipeg Jets are officially out of the NHL playoffs after losing to Vegas 6-2 last night. Coach Scott Arniel called it a terrible feeling after last night's loss, saying he had high hopes After the All-Star break, Winnipeg still has 2 games left this season. Tonight on the road against the Utah Mammoth, then back home for the final game of the season Thursday night against San Jose.
Well, we're certainly going to be talking about some really beautiful conditions for tomorrow. Now, the records are closer to the mid-20s, so maybe not a record maximum in Winnipeg, but we'll just enjoy the fact that it'll be in the high teens here, increasing cloudiness later in the day, early Thursday, later in the Thursday. During the day, watch out for that freezing rain risk. Things get much trickier as those temperatures will be sliding, and they stay on the cooler side. Overnight's quite chilly as we move into the weekend. But take heart, because we'll bookend it on the other end by the time we get into the beginning of next week with a repeat of some warm conditions and getting back towards the teens. So slowly but surely we're getting there. Everyone, I hope you enjoy tomorrow.
Oh, I certainly will. Thank you, Colette. But maybe not so much Thursday, Friday. Well, being chased by a robot is something you probably only expect to see in a movie, or if you're like me, in nightmares. I'm not a fan of horror movies, or else this is all things I'd be thinking about late at night. And now, to my unsettlement, being chased by a robot is something that can actually happen in real life, and tonight it makes our daily lift. So this is a humanoid robot called Edward Warchaki, seen here running after a herd of wild boars in the streets of Warsaw. Well, this is presumably an attempt to chase away these wild animals and get them out of the city. The AI-equipped robot can be found out for a stroll on busy streets or even just chatting with passerby. Edward has actually become somewhat of an icon and arguably one of the most recognizable internet stars, even appearing on Polish talk shows. It also visited Polish Parliament recently and chatted with MPs. That still leaves me a little bit unsettled because I would think that the AI might be chasing me or something. Thank you for being with us on this Tuesday. I'll see you again tomorrow night.